What happens when the place meant to save lives becomes the place where people disappear? Jessie Marie Peterson's story is a chilling reminder that sometimes the truth is more horrifying than fiction. But what exactly happened, you may ask? Stay tuned to find out. Welcome to our channel. This is Criminal Activities. Jessie Marie Peterson, just 31 years of age, was a Sacramento native who grew up with her sisters, Angie and Chandra. Her mother's name was Ginger Congi. Jessie was described as a loving and energetic person. Diagnosed with type 1 diabetes at the age of 10, she faced challenges that affected her participation in gymnastics, but did her best to remain active, later excelling in high school water polo and dance at Roseville High School. She attended Sierra College in Rocklin, California, and went on to become a prosecuting attorney for the Placer County Peer Court. On April 6, 2023, Jessie checked herself into Mercy San Juan Medical Center in Carmichael, California for treatment, after suffering a diabetic episode. Having battled type 1 diabetes since childhood, hospital visits weren't unusual for her, but she had always pulled through. 2 days later, on April 8th, Jessie called her mother. Her voice was calm but urgent. She told her mother she was ready to leave the hospital and asked her to come pick her up, but her mother told her to stay. She stated how she was in the best place for the best care. But this was sadly the last phone call Jessie made, and the last time anyone ever heard from her. Her mother called the hospital back a few days later to check in on her daughter, but she was met with confusion. The staff told her there was no patient by the name of Jessie Marie Peterson. After Ginger asked more questions, the staff claimed Jessie had left the hospital against medical advice. But something felt wrong to Ginger. Jessie wasn't answering her cell phone. Days passed, then weeks, then months, but no word from Jessie. Desperate for answers, her family ended up reporting her missing to the Sacramento County Sheriff's Office. For nearly a year, search parties were organized, missing person flyers were distributed and posted, and the family remained hopeful. Leads came and went, but there was no sign of Jessie. Jessie's mother disclosed that her daughter had struggled with addiction and faced periods of housing instability. However, she maintained close contact with her family and often stayed with friends. Believing she may have remained in the Sacramento area, her family tirelessly searched for her, sharing her photo with members of the homeless community and never giving up hope of finding her. For an entire year, her mother lived in agonizing uncertainty, haunted by the thought that Jessie was out there, lost, in danger, or even worse, dead. She had no idea her worst fears were already reality. On April 12, 2024, more than a year after she disappeared, the Sacramento County Detective's Office delivered the unthinkable news. Jessie had never checked herself out of the hospital. She had died there. Just 2 hours after that call with her mom, she suffered cardiopulmonary arrest and was pronounced dead at 4:27 p.m. Jessie's death certificate was not completed until nearly a year after her death. And for that year, her body had been decomposing in the hospital's off-site warehouse morgue, cremations only, and placed on shelf number Red 22A. By the time her body was discovered, her remains were so deteriorated that an open casket funeral was impossible. Even her fingerprints, precious keepsakes for a grieving family, were lost to time. An autopsy was also impossible due to the advanced decomposition. The family was devastated, accusing the hospital of gross negligence and an egregious lack of dignity and respect. The hospital, Mercy San Juan Medical Center, never notified her family of her death. Instead, they misled them, allowing them to search, to hope, to suffer for an entire year.
Jessie, from the time that she was born, full of energy.
Her mother, Ginger Congi, also says Jessie was a familiar face at Mercy San Juan. She had type 1 diabetes and later struggled with a drug addiction. So this is where Jessie was when she called and asked to be picked up.
I told her I couldn't go get her.
It was April 8, 2023.
Hospitals are supposed to be the right place for people to be cared for. And that was one of the last things that I said to her. You need to stay put right where you're at, because you're getting the best care that you need. And apparently that didn't happen.
She never heard from Jessie again. She says the hospital said Jessie left against medical advice, so the family started a search.
I believe it was July 25th when we all finally decided to do the missing persons report.
2023 came and went. The family and law enforcement kept looking.
I never gave up hope.
Then finally, the sheriff's office called with an update.
Well, she's been found deceased.
They had all been searching for someone who never left. Jessie died at the hospital on April 8, 2023, less than 2 hours after her phone call with her mom. Her family finally found out after a doctor signed her death certificate 1 year later.
That whole time that we thought that she was alive, why did it take you a year to let us know that she had passed away?
Records show in that time, Jessie's body sat here at Cremations Only, another off-site storage facility used by Dignity Health.
Sent her off to a shelf someplace in a freezer and didn't have a care in the world about how it was going to affect any of us.
It's the same place at least 2 other Dignity Health hospital patients went, according to their death certificates KCRA3 Investigates obtained. And again, they each show a delay ranging from 5 to 7 months from the time the person died to the time a doctor actually signed an official record of their death, a record critical for families looking for loved ones.
A complaint filed on August 7th in Sacramento Superior Court alleges that Mercy San Juan Medical Center, whose parent company is Dignity Health, indicated that Jessie discharged herself on April 8, 2023, against medical advice. In truth, Jessie had died while in the care of Mercy San Juan, according to the complaint. Now, Jessie's family is seeking justice. They have filed a lawsuit against the hospital and Dignity Health, accusing them of gross negligence and a complete lack of respect for human dignity. But this isn't just about Jessie. Since her story has gone public, other families have come forward, claiming their loved ones suffered similar fates at the hands of Dignity Health hospitals.
It's been a tough road. First learning that she was gone, then, meeting with people at East Lawn and learning that none of her tattoos could be identified on her body. Because her body was so discolored and so decayed, was very alarming. Okay. I've lost any and all confidence that I might have in their treatment of people. I think that they treated Jessie with total disregard and lack of humanity and compassion.
Dignity Health asserts that the dignity of persons requires reverence at every stage of life's journey, from conception to natural death. However, the organization failed to notify Jessie's mother of her passing and did not extend the basic courtesy of an apology to the family. It is reasonable to assume that Dignity Health conducted an internal review to determine how this occurred, yet hospital staff refused to provide any answers to the family. Instead, the institution remained silent, concealing the circumstances surrounding Jessie's death. Ultimately, her family sought legal representation to uncover the truth and seek justice. 4 months after Jessie's body was discovered, on August 7, 2024, a lawsuit was filed. The Peterson family now fights not only for justice for their family, but to make sure this never happens to another family again. The family is seeking $5 million in damages, as well as 5 times the jury's award of actual damages, to hold the hospital accountable for what they describe as outrageous and inexcusable negligence and complete disregard for the dignity of Jessie. California law mandates that an attending physician must complete a death certificate within 15 hours of a patient's passing. However, in Jessie Peterson's case, it took an entire year for the physician to finalize the certificate of death. In addition to this delay, Mercy San Juan Medical Center failed to file the death certificate with the local registrar within the required 8-day period. Under California Health and Safety Code, a disposition permit for the disposition of human remains is required for burial, cremation, or relocation of a body. However, such a permit can only be issued if the death certificate is properly executed and complete, a step the hospital neglected to fulfill. Furthermore, the California Code of Regulations states that family requests for information, including a patient's condition or death, should be addressed promptly and reasonably. Jessie's mother, listed as her next of kin, had previous contact with the hospital during Jessie's earlier admissions. Despite this, the hospital failed to inform her of her daughter's passing. Additionally, California Health and Safety Code grants the surviving competent parent or parents of the decedent legal authority over their loved one's remains. Mercy San Juan Medical Center violated this regulation by covertly storing Jessie's remains for an entire year, rather than properly transferring custody to her mother. These egregious failures not only deprived Jessie's family of the dignity and closure they deserved, but also demonstrated a blatant disregard for legal obligations and ethical responsibility. Another case of mishandled human remains at Mercy San Juan Medical Center was reported in 2021. This case involved Michael Gray, whose remains went missing under circumstances similar to those of Jessie.
This is crazy to me.
A search for someone who was never really missing.
Michael was a wonderful son.
For Valerie Gray, that someone was her 39-year-old son, Michael Gray. She says he struggled with mental health issues and sometimes bounced around, staying with friends for weeks at a time, but he always kept in touch. Until
I called him day and night.
No response. Weeks went by. His 40th birthday passed.
More family members started getting together, and it was this long time nobody heard from him.
So they got the Sacramento County Sheriff's Office on the case. Financial records helped a detective discover Michael's last transaction happened here, at a Rio Linda 7-Eleven on July 10, 2021. An employee recognized his picture and said Michael walked out to the parking lot. Then he fell. An ambulance took him to Mercy San Juan Medical Center, a Dignity Health hospital. So the detective called. Per their records, he had been treated and released, the detective wrote in his report.
That didn't tell the full story, though, because Michael never did walk out the doors of this hospital that day, and his mother wouldn't learn what truly happened until August 13th, 2021.
It was Friday the 13th. It was a bad day. I got a call from the coroner telling me that my son had passed away.
The family learned of Michael's death 1 month after it happened.
That's my bro, you know, and like he taught me how to be strong, and look at me like I consider crying a strength, you know. I really love my brother.
Records show Michael died of a drug overdose at the hospital.
I didn't know why I wasn't contacted.
In a letter, Dignity Health claimed a chaplain tried twice with no response, but Valerie says that didn't happen. Dignity also claimed it notified the coroner, but the coroner's office says that didn't happen. They say they too were kept in the dark for a month, and in that time, the sheriff's office investigation revealed the hospital sent Michael's body to an off-site storage facility. Dignity Health wouldn't tell KCRA3 Investigates why it uses off-site storage, but we do know it's a practice many hospitals around the country began during the COVID-19 pandemic as their own hospital morgues filled up.
It just makes me so angry. It's something that, you know, nobody should ever have to go through, you know, their loved one kept somewhere you don't know.
And now we're learning that you're not the only one with a story like this.
Terrible.
Each year, Mercy San Juan Medical Center admits over 19,000 patients, all of whom deserve the assurance that, in the event of their passing, their remains will be treated with dignity and respect. However, Dignity Health has failed to provide that assurance. While a patient that doesn't survive may be just another lifeless body to Mercy San Juan Hospital, Jessie was a family member, daughter, and sister, all of whom deserve dignity and respect. Mercy San Juan grossly failed to provide that. Even to this day, the hospital has not apologized to Jessie's family members, the lawsuit states.
It's a place to come and kind of like, you know, be with my son, you know.
Valerie Gray now knows the final resting place
It's right here,
for her 39-year-old son.
where it says Michael Vincent Gray.
Solace after so much uncertainty, and she's not alone in that.
That's so beautiful of you. Thanks.
Peace be with you.
Oh, you're so sweet. Oh,
Sorry for you.
I'm sorry for your loss too.
Ginger Kanji lost her 31-year-old daughter, Jessie Peterson.
Your daughter was beautiful.
The two mothers
He was handsome. Oh,
met for the first time,
he was something else. He's with me every day.
united in their message.
Whatever it takes, I think something needs to change.
I'm with her. Accountability. There needs to be something to stop this.
But I want to know your opinion on this case. How could it take a whole year to complete a death certificate? Why did the hospital staff say Jessie had checked herself out? And the question remains, how many others are out there, laying in a vault somewhere, waiting to be found? We'd love to hear from you in the comments section. This is Criminal Activities signing off. Stay safe out there.